Daystar Television is in turmoil. Behind the global broadcasts and messages of hope, a fierce internal conflict is unraveling the foundation of one of Christian media's most influential networks. A prominent pastor says he was pressured by a Daystar executive to support a false narrative. When he refused, he was told in no uncertain terms, "You're either with us or against us." He's now joined by another whistleblower, and together they're exposing a hidden world of manipulation, fear, and control inside the network. This isn't just a family dispute. These are serious allegations about how Daystar operates behind the scenes. Allegations that raise troubling questions about how power is protected in religious media. For decades, Daystar has been a trusted name, reaching millions around the world with Christian programming. But behind the scenes, a bitter division is playing out. On one side, Joni Lamb, the network's president, and her new husband, Dr. Doug Weiss. On the other, Joni's son and daughter-in-law, Jonathan and Susie Lamb, who have accused the leadership of covering up abuse involving Joni's granddaughter. Although law enforcement has closed the investigation, the damage is done, and the full story is just beginning to surface. The first whistleblower's account, shared publicly by author Candy Chand, reveals a coordinated effort to silence dissent and control the narrative. It's a rare glimpse into how image and influence are protected at all costs, and what happens when the truth becomes inconvenient. Here we go. Rachel Lamb Brown has pressured a well-known minister to circle the spin wagons, like others, by speaking out for Pete Post's The Closure of the Case. When he refused, she was furious. She told him he's either a friend or an enemy, then bragged about how Daystar has the best lawyers in the country. The minister was shocked. Frankly, I'm not shocked at all. Daystar has a history of using powerful connections, donor-funded platforms, lawfare, and intimidation to control the narrative. It is not my place to name the minister, but you'd all know him. I'm hoping he'll go public himself, but that's entirely up to him. This places more doubt on the credibility of those who did make statements in defense of Pete within the last few days. So, if you're a minister or other public figure who has also been pressured, feel free to inbox me. The reality is, when one's being threatened, there are likely more. Take a moment to really consider this. In Rachel's world, there is no middle ground. You are either completely all in fully aligned with their agenda, or you are instantly branded the enemy. There is no room for honesty, no respect for conscience or personal conviction. Your doubts, concerns, or objections are not welcomed. They're met with suspicion, hostility, and sometimes outright threats. If that sounds unsettling, that's only the beginning. The story shared by our second whistleblower, revealed through the Twitter account at NowThis254, pulls back the curtain even further and exposes just how deeply toxic and oppressive the culture at Daystar has become. It's a culture steeped in intimidation, control, and fear where loyalty is demanded at any cost, and anyone who questions the narrative faces serious consequences. This isn't just internal disagreement or typical organizational conflict. It's a system designed to silence voices and maintain power through manipulation and threats. The truth these whistleblowers share reveals a side of Christian media that many viewers never see, and it's more disturbing than you might imagine. I was contacted by a source who wishes to remain anonymous about an experience they had as a guest on Daystar. The guest was invited on Ministry Now to discuss their ministry, which was a huge deal for them, as they are a smaller, lesser-known entity. They were obviously excited to go on the show. However, when they arrived, instead of meeting God-fearing television hosts, they were greeted with gossipers and slanderers. Joni and Doug Weiss spoke relentlessly behind the scenes and off-camera, belittling Jonathan and Susie Lamb and speaking ill of their own family. They went on and on about what is going on, speaking ill of anyone against them. The ministry representative had not heard of any of the story, so when they left Daystar, they went home and began researching only to realize that Joni Lamb is accused of covering up the sexual abuse of her granddaughter by claiming her son is trying to blackmail her. Despite the potential financial benefits for them, the small ministry decided not to do any further business with Daystar. But here's where it gets crazy. When the ministry shared this story with people outside of Daystar, people at Daystar found out and began to threaten the ministry. The ministry was terrified, unsure what to do, and felt very scared of what Daystar would do to them. As their ministry has a tiny budget and little to protect themselves, they immediately went on a cleanup campaign, hoping to mitigate any potential retribution by Daystar for simply sharing their experience. This is how the charismatic industrial complex works: gaslight the victims, silence anyone who notices, and threaten ministries who question. Consider this deeply troubling scenario: leaders of one of the largest Christian television networks. A grandmother and her new husband are spending their time engaged not in ministry, but in spreading harmful gossip and slandering her own son and daughter-in-law. Such behavior would almost certainly lead to removal from leadership in most churches. Yet at Daystar, this kind of toxic dynamic appears to be just business as usual, quietly tolerated behind closed doors. This is not what Christianity stands for. This is organized, systematic intimidation designed to protect power and silence dissent. An anonymous insider sums it up with brutal clarity, describing the way the charismatic industrial complex functions. First, gaslight the victims, make them doubt their own memories and experiences. Second, silence anyone who dares to notice or speak out. And third, intimidate and threaten ministries and individuals who question the official narrative. This is the blueprint for maintaining control. When serious allegations surface, instead of being met with transparency, truth, and a genuine pursuit of justice, victims are met with manipulation designed to confuse and silence them. The atmosphere becomes one where people are pressured into conformity through threats, bullying, and fear. Loyalty is demanded at the expense of integrity. The stories brought forward by two courageous whistleblowers reveal a disturbing and consistent pattern, one that should cause concern for every Christian who cares about truth and accountability. This is not simply a matter of a family feud or picking sides in a private dispute. It is a manifestation of a larger system that places power and control above honesty, justice, and the very principles Christ taught. When Rachel Lamb Brown reportedly told ministers they were either friends or enemies, she exposed a worldview where allegiance is valued far more than conscience or moral courage. When Daystar resorts to threatening smaller ministries for daring to share their experiences, it reveals the network's true priorities, preserving its image at all costs, even if it means crushing those who seek to bring truth to light. So, what must happen now? First, if you are a minister, public figure, or anyone who has faced similar pressure or intimidation from Daystar or from any other Christian media outlet, it is imperative to speak out. Just as Candy Chan bravely did. Her voice reminds us all that when one person is threatened, many others are likely facing similar attempts at intimidation. Second, if you are a donor to Daystar or any Christian media organization, it is your responsibility to ask hard, critical questions. Are your donations truly supporting authentic ministry and gospel outreach? Or are they being funneled into a legal war chest, designed to silence critics, suppress whistleblowers, and maintain a facade of perfection? Third, demand transparency, accountability, and real reform from Christian media organizations. The body of Christ deserves nothing less than honesty and integrity from those who claim to serve in His name. The anonymous ministry featured in our second whistleblower account made a courageous choice. They walked away from potential financial gain because they refused to compromise their integrity. This kind of moral courage is desperately needed in Christian media today. Together, these whistleblower testimonies paint a grim portrait of power run unchecked within Christian television. When family members openly gossip and undermine one another on set, when ministers are coerced into publicly defending individuals accused of serious wrongdoing, and when small ministries are bullied or threatened for speaking their truth, what we are witnessing is a culture that has strayed far from the teachings of Jesus. This is a culture that elevates control over compassion, image over truth, and intimidation over grace. I will continue to follow this story closely as new details emerge. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any updates. And please, share your own experiences or observations in the comments below. Have you seen or experienced similar toxic behaviors within Christian media circles? It's time for all of us to shine a light into these dark corners.